Greetings! So today's video is going to be a quick one. It is a short news video because yesterday we found out that ROSA Gallery has added 10 colors to their watercolor range, which is super exciting. So the rundown of the 10 new colors is as follows. 5 of them are granulating, 3 of them they called pastel, basically tints, so a color with a bit of white in it, and then 2 colors are labeled as classics. And I will quickly go through the colors here and show you the images they shared of the colors. Of course, these are not available at the moment. They were just announced and possibly shipped out. They have to ship from Ukraine to everywhere else, so keep that in mind. The first color is ultramarine gray. It is a mix of ultramarine blue, PB29, and a synthetic brown iron oxide, PBR6. This combo of color is very useful. It is a bit of a trick of the trade of watercolor as a way to get a neutral really quickly, and then depending on how fine the pigment for each of these colors is, you can get some varying degrees of granulation. In this case, it seems to be a beautifully granulating color, and they say it is a noble, deep blue steel shade with a distinctly cool character, perfect for stormy skies, waves, misty mountains, and profound shadows. Second color is Nightfall Azure. It is a mix of 3 pigments, and it is also a granulating color. Our ultramarine blue is back. The synthetic brown iron oxide is back as well. And then we have a bit of chrome oxide green in the mix for a slightly different color than the one we saw before. I think it is super interesting. And for this one, they say that it's a deep magnetic blue with rich inner complexity. Ideal for night skies, the seascapes, cliffs, and cool shadows. Next, we have 2 colors that are quite different on their own. You will see why. The first one is named Red Rose Deep. It is made from pigment Red 48:3. This pigment is named Ergolite Red 2BY. It is a synthetic organic pigment, and this one, the pro is that it is very transparent, and the con is that it is not very light fast. It is rated as having a somewhat poor light fastness, so a bit like their blue color they added in the last release. Here we have a color that is there mostly because of its visual qualities. It is bright, it is transparent, it is a very beautiful color. But you have to take extra precautions if you want to frame a painting with this color on a sunlit wall. They describe this color as a pure, resonant red-pink tone. This single pigment color ensures clean mixes and luminous glazing. Great for berries, flowers, blush, and warm accents. Then we have Rose Quartz Deep. This one has 3 pigments. The first one is PR81:1. Its technical name is Rhodamin 6G Fiat. Again, like the previous color, this one is also a beautifully transparent pigment, but that is fugitive. For this color, it is mixed with Pyrrole Orange, PO73, and PG17 Chrome Oxide green that we saw earlier with one of the blues. For this one, they say that it's a deep, complex, yet warm pink that reflects the natural texture of semi-precious stone. Suitable for architecture, roses, autumn foliage, and dawn skies. The next 2 colors are tints. The first one is Rose Pale. It is a mix of PW6, titanium white, PV19, quinacridone violet, and PR101, which is synthetic red iron oxide. They describe this color as being an elegant, delicate, and complex pink with a distinct ashy undertone. Perfect for backgrounds, flowers, morning skies, and soft portrait shadows. The next one is named Lilac Pale, and it has exactly the same pigments as the one before, but a very different hue if you look at the color. So I don't know if it's a matter of the ratio being different or if they went with pigments that have these numbers but different hues, because both PV19 and PR101, they can come in a wide range of hues, so it's a bit hard to say. It is described as a smoky lilac shade with a cool undertone. Ideal for aerial perspective, evening gradients, cool shadows, and florals. Next we have Van Dyke Brown. It is a mix of 2 pigments, so synthetic red iron oxide and lamp black to get this deep dark brown. It is described as a deep warm brown that lends a sense of classical grandeur, and dramatic shadows with a soft golden undertone. It suits skin tones, bark, fur, and architecture. And then Olive Oxide Gray is a mix of 2 pigment that I think is quite interesting. It is a mix of Chrome Oxide Green and Cadmium Red. So we've seen a mix of a granulating green and cadmium red. Usually it's cobalt green and cadmium red, and it gives us this very interesting gray that separates if you decide to handle it this way. Now with this specific color, we get something that is more green, but that also has this really interesting play in the pigments. Obviously, it is a granulating color, and it is described as an earthy shade with a natural depth and silvery washes. Perfect for grass, moss, stone, and aged surfaces. I quite agree with this one. The last two colors, the first one is Nightfall Orange. It is a mix of two pigments, PB28 Cobalt Blue and PO73 Purell Orange again. This one I think is really interesting and is probably one of the colors that I'm the most excited to see in person eventually, because you don't really feel the blue in the swatches they show. You kind of get this really nice like dusky purple instead, and then it dilutes to this orange color, which I think is really cool. So I'm very excited to see this one. But it is described as a deep, complex orange-brown that reveals a blue undertone when washed. Great for brick, rooftops, rust, and twilight landscapes. And finally, the last color is Buff Titanium. For this color, they went the route of having it be a mix of titanium white, PW6, and PBR7, which is natural brown iron oxide. Usually, this pigment is found as a single pigment PW6 colon 1, but there's a couple of brands that have a mix, the main one being Royal Talents, so both their Van Gogh student range and Rembrandt professional range. Buff Titanium is a similar mix. ROSA describes their version as a warm beige alternative to cold whites for light, sand, stone, and soft portrait transitions. Creates complex pastel mixes. So that sums it up very quickly. This is basically just a post that they shared with a little bit of pigment insight from me. I would love to be able to try these myself and do a full review. Maybe at some point it will get to me. It takes a while, so it's not gonna be soon, but it's definitely something I'm interested in doing, so I will keep an eye on this, and for sure, if I end up being able to get these colors, I will be making a thorough video featuring them. It's also worth noting that they say one of the colors, the deep red pink, which I guess is their red rose deep color, because there's no color with the name deep red pink. But something got a bit lost in translation here, I think. But anyway, this color will be available for order in April of this year. It is not quite ready yet, so there's not much to do aside from waiting. If I hear about any other development in this, or if I hear about them being available or something, I will be making a little update video. But for now, that's all I can say. I invite you to check the link in the description to Rosa's post on these color and to go eye the lovely swatches they share. Beautiful colors. I'm super excited. Hopefully you are excited about these too. Let me know what you think in the comments, as always, and see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.